we are mostly water, then how crucial it is that the quality of the water that goes into our bodies is the finest water available.
I've always talked about filtered water because the water that's provided through our taps leaves a lot to be desired. And some of the bottled water leaves even more to be desired than the stuff that's through our taps. So unless people buy good quality bottled water, they're actually better off drinking the water out of their taps.
Water became important to me when I lived in Ukraine, in Kiev, worked as a chartered accountant there. I was living 80 kilometers away from the Chernobyl nuclear power station. I found out that the water there, even though it was 10 years after the accident, was still contaminated with radioactivity. So filtering water became important to me. However, I wasn't satisfied just with filtration. I wanted to learn more about water. I got onto the internet and I discovered people like Victor Schauberger and Johann Grander. These are two separate Austrian naturalists or scientists who did a lot of research into water, totally independently, and came to some startling conclusions.
Now, if you're wondering what on earth these people are talking about and what's responsible for creating in them such a huge range of experiences, then stick with me and you'll learn why. It's water, that's what they're talking about. Water has a myriad of forms and it creates an infinite variety of patterns. We've got the ocean behind us, but we've also got it here in the atmosphere. I can't see it, but it's right here. It's in everything, it pervades everything. Water is our planet's lifeblood.
They told me about the technology of Mr. Grander from Tyrol, and I thought they are very stupid, because I couldn't imagine that you can give information into water or you can change water without technical equipment.
What's really important about Grander water is that it's returning water back to as nature intended it to be.
It's very odd because it's almost as if the water is wetter, and I know scientifically that you can have higher or lower viscosity, so I suppose effectively that's what happens to the water.
It has been 2 or 3 years and they told me again and again, and as a consumer protector I said he can change the water and he can optimize the water.
Water is much stranger than we think. For a start, its boiling and freezing points are much, much higher than you'd expect from its chemical structure, and the temperature at which it's liquid and life-supporting just happens to coincide with the temperature of the Earth. 2/3 of our body and 70% of the Earth's surface is water. It's connected to all life on Earth, and the most fascinating thing about it is that it also stores information.
I wanted to write about things that, you know, make your health better, that give you more energy. And in the course of researching for that topic, I came across a book that talked about Johann Grander, the Austrian man who's been developing the whole thought process behind the Grander water. And I found it really fascinating. So I wanted to know more about it, and I wanted to know, well, how can I make my water better? Because I've always used water filters anyway. I was very aware that the drinking water that comes out of the tap isn't ideal, to say the least.
We have Grander in the Hotel Hindenburg since about 5 years, and we have been very surprised about the experience we made, especially with cleaning the whole hotel.
I had a shower and I said to my husband, something's changed with the water. What have you done to the water? And he explained to me that he'd put a Grander unit in.
Grander technology produces water that is vibrant, fully energised and clear. This is the ultimate water.
Being a healthcare professional, I do understand about the homeopathic principles. So in that respect, yes, I can see that very, very good quality water, when other water is passed by it, will transfer its energy onto the tap water.
The Grander system is nothing to do with magnets, it's everything to do with water. The Grander system uses highly energized water, which itself transfers this energy or information to other waters like the tap water that flows through the unit. That's the basic principle of how it works.
To my understanding, and there is a high energy water inside of the energy rod, and that is able to pass on this high energy to the liquid that it comes in close contact with.
The extraordinary thing about Granda is that it is very subtle, but it is also very profound. And if you start with the water that you use, then you're changing your whole body.
It sounds so simple, it's unbelievable, but that's the reality.
Just as a seed contains all the genetic information it needs either to become a daisy or a parsnip or even a giant oak tree, so every water molecule contains its entire history. The trouble is though, water absorbs both the positive and the negative influences of its environment, and it passes these on to us when we come into contact with it. So if water's damaged, it stands to reason it can only pass on that negative information. If we poison our water, we're poisoning ourselves.
Water is not a poison. Water is fundamental to life. But if you abuse water and put poisons into it and try and scrub them out, if you just leave the tiniest trace of that poison, are you happy to give that partially poisoned water to your children? I'm not. I'm passionate about water, and I believe that water has to be made pure and safe to drink. And that means pure not just chemically, but pure energetically.
We have to develop water systems all over Europe, also all over the world, that everybody has the right to get good, clear, healthful water.
I believe it's possible for water to lose its vitality. The water that comes through our taps has been recycled over and over again and comes to us as quite damaged water.
We are water. The whole planet is nearly all water. And so we need to investigate water and our relationship to it.
We need to change in our mind. That's the most important thing, that we say water is a holy thing.
Yet we're becoming increasingly and painfully aware that the water we use is more and more contaminated with nasty chemicals. Typically, tap water contains a whole mass of chemicals, including aluminium sulfate, which is used in water filtration, and estrogen from the contraceptive pill. And these are just a couple of the chemicals that are reducing water's natural health-giving properties and making it far less effective in processes that depend on the natural quality of water. Water from a natural spring is absolutely packed with vitality and sparkle. And this vitality is power because it's whooshing up directly from its source. Trouble is, water can lose that vitality and power because as it travels over long distances in pressure pipes, it can be destroyed and drain away. So water can lose vitality, but the great news is we can put it back. Historically, different springs have been associated with healing, and the mineral and energetic content of these springs varies from source to source. Now this has huge implications for users of modern tap water, because that water has been chemically treated and sometimes has even been recycled. Now look, our skin, it's the largest organ of the body, and every time we get in the bath or shower, we're going to be absorbing any toxins that are in that water. Thousands of Granda water users have reported significant improvements in their health, particularly when they've been suffering from skin complaints. All too often, ill health is a result of dehydration. Well, what does Granda water do? It rehydrates better than tap water.
In the restaurant and in the kitchen, we realized that no milk is gone, the soups are all the day okay, and also the salad is very fresh, and especially we made the experience that the people asked us if we have new coffee, because the taste differs a little from that to the normal water.
Limescale, bacterial growth and excessive chlorination can completely spoil a customer's experience and wreck a business. But with Granda water, these severe problems can be considerably reduced, making for hundreds of businesses serving happier customers and benefiting from greatly reduced running costs.
The work started at the beginning of the year, and in June it was filled. It was filled with groundwater, and the water stayed here until mid of November, when winter started here. And there was quite a few observations. Number one is the water was very clear, crystal clear, no algae has formed. And then we observed a few other things, like here on the wood you could see the water line, and above the water line you see some impact from wind and sun and so on. But here on the below the water line it's very clean. The sand, you can go to the ground, it's totally clean. There's no smell and even no sign that there has been any water inside. Everyone told him, if you have no cleaning system, no filtration, nothing at all, you can't keep the water stable. But apparently, the Granda unit, made it work.
Water is essential to industry in a wide variety of ways, and often in some rather unusual settings.
I was walking around Sainsbury's about half an hour later, and I suddenly thought to myself, I'm walking differently. I thought, no, I'm just imagining it. And then Sally and I, we both had trolleys and we were wandering around, and when I met her up, I said to her, do you know, I'm walking differently. I said, my hips just feel so much freer. I said, I can't put it down to anything else but this little paint that I've got on.
There's a different feel to the skin after bathing.
When I had the unit put in, I had the guy put in the Grandeur thing for the heating system. And that was early spring. But I tell you, the radiators are hot. They are pumping hot. You need to turn the thing down.
I'm in the habit of buying flowers for my wife from time to time. But I sometimes forget. But what I have noticed, and this is really strange, is that when I now put flowers into a vase for my wife in Granda water, the flowers often last twice as long as before. And when you take the flowers out, the water doesn't smell.
Since I've had it installed in my house, the changes are quite subtle, but they're profound nonetheless.
The washing gets cleaner with less washing powder. I'm not quite sure how that works, but all I can say, it does work, and I'm very pleased with it. Also like the fact that it's maintenance free, of course.
Well, it's been quite funny actually. The energy rod that I've been taking over to visit with friends, we've had quite an amusing time where we've sat around and tested all sorts of different alcohols using the energy rod. And one of my friends, I think, quite cleverly nicknamed it the booze enhancer, which for the reasons that it actually improved, I think, every alcohol we tested quite significantly. We did blind tests, and it makes it much smoother, much more palatable, and just much more pleasurable to drink.
I was permanently dehydrated, and I'm not anymore. I had a slight lower backache where my kidneys were, and that's gone. So my energy has improved, but mainly, noticeably, the taste of water. I really like to drink it now.
When you fill the bathtub with this stuff, when you lay in the bath, you start to feel, you know how your skin, in the regular water, your skin usually gets prunes here, but it gets prunes, and it gets prunes really fast. It's almost like your whole skin is simply just absorbing it, so you get a lot more waterlogged very, very, very quickly.
So a shower is exhilarating, but it just has a sort of gentle feel to it.
I noticed immediately that the water had a softer feel to it, definitely had a vibrancy to it. It felt like when you're drunk it really penetrates you, and it was gorgeous to wash with. And my dog.
There's one plant in my living room which was about half the size and is now growing very, very vigorously. You can see it best with this plant, but friends have actually commented on it and said, what have you done? Are you using any fertilizer? And I'm not. All I'm doing is I'm watering it with a Granda treated water.
Your skin over time, I think you'll feel the difference.
I had to turn my boiler down. I normally have it on the highest setting to wash up, and I couldn't put my hands in the water anymore. It was so hot.
1 year ago, a European meeting with medicians, and they changed their experiences. And I think we have in Germany 40 or 50 doctors, medicians, they are working with this water.
I've been so impressed with the pendant that we ordered a unit, and we had that fitted. And since it's been fitted, certainly our plants, like Vera's plants, are growing so much better. The dogs drink a lot more water.
Now when water's revitalised, nothing's added to it and nothing's taken away either. It just becomes fully vibrant, and that means it becomes extremely resistant to any negative external influences. Every day, all of us, although we might not know it, are bombarded by negative influences. I'm talking microwaves, mobile phones ringing all over the place, the additives that we eat in our food, and the chlorine and other nasties that we usually drink. Sounds pretty grim, doesn't it? But there is a ray of hope. Because what do we do most during each day? We drink masses of water and we bathe. So if we get the water right and use water that's biologically natural and pure, then we won't be as adversely affected by the other external influences. And that's where Granda water comes in.
It makes a difference to water. It returns water back to where it was meant to be. Healthy water like we get from nature.
I can feel that when I bathe in it, I can feel that when I drink it. It has vitality.
Or start with one of the Pennergizers. You can feel the difference with just one of those things and build up.
In September 2000, the Russian Academy of Natural Sciences presented Johann Granda with their Silver Honorary Award for developing Granda technology, because they maintain that his discovery is of vast significance to the whole world. Naturalist Johann Granda has discovered a unique way of structuring and formatting water which enables it to transmit its own power and information. So this, of course, as you can imagine, produces a profound effect on people, on animals, on plants, and on the whole environment. Granda uses as his starting point a natural spring which occurs 300 metres underground. So this means it hasn't had any contact at all with environmental pollution. To get to its source, the water filters for 40 years through 300 metres of ancient granite rock, and it's only then that it gets treated by the special revitalisation technology, and that increases its potential for hydration for all living things. What's extraordinary is that when ordinary tap water comes into contact with Granda information water, its primeval force is restored. It's almost like it's remembering what it originally was, and it has a better ability to stay pure. And the Austrian naturalist Victor Schauberger claims, and I quote him, "Water is only fully mature and informed when it comes to the surface by itself. If water is forced out, it will lack maturity and will contain negative information."
I understand the skeptics, because I have been very, very skeptic. I said it's out of mind.
I was highly sceptical. It was a major financial investment I made, and when I had a unit in the house, I thought, well, was it worth it?
I want to say to the skeptical people that Granda water has only positive things.
Having tried my friend's Granda unit, I wanted one. So I would say to people, try it.
Johann Granda has discovered how to crack the code of what water really is. And whenever any other water comes into contact with the information water, it's reminded of what it really is. There's no electricity involved, it's just water coming into contact with water. This vital source is now available to all of us. We can have Granda technology in our own homes and start benefiting from it immediately. This is the portable energy rod. Now that's got Granda water in it. You can use it anytime and anywhere. Really good in cups of tea. It'll revitalise your water. Or you've got this simple pendant that's filled with Granda water, and that too has a really powerful effect.
The installation itself was very impressive.
It was surprisingly easy to get the unit installed. We contacted our usual plumber who came over, and he actually just turned off the water at the stopcock valve, cut the pipe quite simply, and then just put the unit in with a few minor attachments, and it was usable within less than an hour.
The installation was probably more hassle-free than an ordinary plumber.
The water revitalisation process is achieved using boxes like these. These metal boxes all contain Granda Information Water, and you could have this one fitted to your home or your business water supply. If you want something smaller though, then you could fit this one to your hose pipe or to your shower. And in big commercial settings where you're probably going to need something as big as these ones, don't worry, because the installation process is simple and straightforward.
I want that many other hotels and colleagues use the Granda water.
As a therapist, I'm confident to recommend Granda water to my patients because it's the best water that people can drink, because it's revitalised and it makes water much more bioavailable to us.
Water is so important to us. There's much more to it than meets the eye.
To sum up Granda water, for me it's the difference between Brine nylon and silk.
What you would like, my friend, is natural, pure, vital water. Granda technology will give you that.
I think it will have a great future.